And you're welcome. It's time for the strips for a Sunday. I think we have a pattern here now. It's every Sunday we do the strips. It didn't used to be so, but thank you very much, producers, for not telling me until we changed that. But I never do it alone. Of course, Queen Celestine is joining as well. Celestine, are you ready for today's strips?
I am.
Grand. So we're going to be starting off with a very interesting one. Of course, the Osun politics. And the election just ended yesterday. Now, this cartoon here wastes absolutely no time in telling you what's happening. We have the proverbial incumbent dressed like he has come to collect, well, not just votes, but also the entire election. I'm not talking about who exactly it might be, but there's a club on his shoulder, spikes and all, while an INEC official stands there holding the ballot box. And the message here is that, hey, we don't romance with opposition, we snatch the ballot. Now, remember, this is from before the election. This is from over the week. And that was when we had high anticipation of violence for the elections. Remember, about 30, if not more, people were recorded to have actually been killed. And there were reported cases of stolen PVCs and all of the rest. But thank goodness that we didn't have this issue mar the elections. But it's a very interesting one here, and I think it is from Business Day, if I'm not mistaken. But, well, incumbent INEC, they had something to prove, and I think judging from yesterday's conduct of the elections, I don't know. Would you give them a pass mark? Would you say that this cartoon doesn't fully accomplish what it set out to do at the beginning of the week? It's from The Guardian, by the way, Celestine. What do you think?
Well, you said it all. I think I like the fact that the INEC bar was standing right there. I think it's just portraying...
That's a movie done, by the way. Yeah. I don't know if it's that short, but...
I think it's just portraying INEC, you know, saying that, you know what, we're trying to make sure that it is free and fair. We're not here for anything. But of course, the election is over, and hopefully we don't end up in court, Mazino.
Hopefully we don't end up in court. I'm not too sure about the way the incumbent was pictured here. It was like I mean, if you're talking about the incumbent, you're talking about the governor currently, and that's Adeleke. And would you say that his instrument was actually to snatch ballot boxes, or did he gain this election plainly on his personality?
When you say that, looking at his weapon, it has a particular sign of another party. And remember when, you know, EFCC froze the account and then we got a call, unfreeze it.
You've just sold it all. I have nothing else to add to that. I never saw that from before. This is why I need you to do it with me every single time. But now let's go to another matter. Let's talk about loans and why exactly we keep taking on these loans. It's our next cartoon strip for today. Let's always note. Now, I'm going to look out for that insignia every single time. We're moving to this one now. Osun politics to Nigeria's favorite national accessory, debt. Let's keep getting those loans. Here's a man, of course, you might know who it might be. He's struggling under the massive sack labeled loans. And he's been asked a reasonable question. Is this debt not getting too much? You know, and the answer, of course, from him is that don't worry, it's transferable, according to him. It's transferable, he says. Now, that's the joke, but unfortunately, it's also the same as a nightmare. Because debt may be transferable, but the consequences of debt is not imaginary. The government continues to borrow even up until today, and another government will inherit what the government of today borrows. And ultimately, Queen, the citizens carry that weight through taxes, through reduced spending space, higher interest costs, fewer resources for public services. I mean, Nigeria has about 15.8 trillion naira for debt servicing alone for 2026. So the cartoon is really asking whether we have reached the point where borrowing has become less about investing for tomorrow and more about simply moving today's problems into tomorrow's accounts. What do you think, Queen?
Well, when he says it's transferable, it's a bit scary because that means the generation, I don't know what generation that's coming, Gen Z, Gen X, Gen Alpha, maybe we'll start again, the silent generation from, you know, the beginning. I don't know which generation is going to inherit it, but it's pretty sad that we are still there. And, you know, I don't know.
Yes,
I don't know,
indeed.
but the bird is an owl.
Is it an owl?
It is.
I don't know what it might be. But the thing is, for most of us, when we hear that it's transferable, we always think about our children. But in a more political sense, it's the next administration that's going to have to take on that burden. But did this administration enter into its office without also inheriting debt itself? That's another question to ask. And the debt that it has been able to garner so far, what has it been used for? development? How much of that have we seen? Is it working? Are they still in the course of, using this to make infrastructure for Nigeria? Something comes to mind, Lagos-Calabar Highway. The profits that would bring, we can't see it now. And the truth is, the president's administration might have to end before you start seeing the dividends. So you want to be careful how you judge these infrastructure that are built out of these loans that we're talking about here.
But real quick, I want to say something.
Okay.
It says an owl can turn its head 270 degrees, not 360.
Queen.
Even nature understands that there is a limit to how far you can keep turning.
Nice. I see what you did there. Okay, good. Okay, very soon we'll
Clock
be able to. Thank you for that addition. Let's talk about religion, politics, and violence all in the same room now. Let's talk about our third cartoon for today. This one, it's a very dark one. And the cartoon is bringing together the combustible issues of Nigeria: religion, politics, insurgency, violence, and everything that's surrounding both the insurgency in the north and Osun state politics from yesterday. One character is announcing that he wants to start a religious war. Another one is reporting that he has already declared a political one in Osun state. Of course, you know who that was. If you remember the Fadehusi issue from over the week last week about the viral video and what he told supporters of the APC to do to accord party members. And behind them, there are people who are literally being dragged along under the banner of anti-truth army with guns in their background, by the way. Now, the cartoon's warning, well, it's very simple. Once truth becomes a casualty, almost anything can be sold to the public, whether it's religion, whether it's politics, fear, hatred, eventually violence as well. And that is why comments by influential religious or political figures matter, especially during seasons like yesterday. You can't pour petrol on political arguments. And when it comes to matters of insurgency, you have to be careful if you're a person of note. What you say carries plenty of weight. Osun has already entered election. They've voted. Adeleke is the winner, governor-elect. Congratulations that none of these inflammatory rhetorics took advantage of the situation. So congratulations, Osun. Congratulations to the Adelekes. Celestine, what do you think?
Well, all I can say is, for you to know the truth, you have to see clearly. So the guys being blinded and they say they're the truth army. Clearly, they're not seeing anything, and it's just it's a cause for concern as to where we're going. It's Nigeria theater show. Who is performing? Because right now the stage is really falling apart.
I just realized that those men who have their eyes covered are actually dragging not just an individual, but he's actually a cleric. He's actually a cleric. That's a man of the cloth.
Yep.
Which adds a very sentimental note to the entire cartoon. Thank you very much, Asuko. The thing with Asuko's cartoons, you really have to look at every single thing, every little insignia there, like that one.
Yes.
I didn't see it from before, but now that we have the picture all blown up, I'm like, that's a preacher. Okay,
Yes.
Let's move on to our final one. Seyi Tinubu has entered our cartoons today. This is a very interesting one. He's talking about his father. He does this all the time. My father does that, does this, does this. Seyi Tinubu here is commenting about his father, President Bola Tinubu. Cartoon is taking claims that the president, his father, is an extraordinary worker. His ethics, well, it makes him like the best president in the world. Now, in the first panel here, you can see that the president is apparently trekking to work, as he says, but yeah, I think Asuko, no, this Okpara makes him a snail here. And then in the second panel, we hear that the president eats only once a day. And suddenly there's this enormous plate of food sitting in front of him. And the humor is actually exaggerated, I know, but Seyi is apparently telling his intention here is to paint his father as a president who is constantly working, constantly sacrificing, constantly focused on the job. But Okpara here basically says, fine, let's take that all literally. Let's overdo it. And that's what the political cartoon here does best. Exaggerate so you understand it. Let's take that big pot of rice once a day, but what's the value of what it is that you gain from being president? And how does it trickle down to the people? It might be exaggerated, but for some people it isn't. If you look at the lifestyles of especially people in political offices as compared to the people they're supposed to lead, not telling the same story. I mean, telling Nigerians that the president works extraordinary and is a hard work, that's just praise. But when Nigerians are struggling with consequence of government policies that you made as a president, and ultimately what they see is that, exactly that. What do you think, Queen?
Well, coming from the pageant world, when they ask you who's your role model, my mother. So for every child, their parents will always be their parent. They will always look up to their parents and admire them. That is a child to his father, regardless. But now his father is the president. So the people are not seeing him as a father. They are seeing him as the president. And of course, being the president, the country will blame you for everything because you are in charge of everything. So you're saying he's trekking to work, you know, of course, he's close to his father. He can see the ups and downs behind the scenes. But in reality, Nigerians are like, yes, he's your father, but he's our president. Let him do the work for us. So I think
let him be our father as well.
Exactly.
You don't see anywhere in the future a political office somewhere in there for him?
Just adopt all of us.
Adopt all of us, like Kano State, marry us. In any case, those are the 4 cartoons we curled out from during the week, from the dailies, The Guardian, Business Day, and I think, I can't remember the last one. But they do talk true to life when you take the interpretations, you know, and add it to whatever sentiments we have going about, and the cynicism of Nigerians. Thank you very much. That's our strips for today. Every single Sunday now, we have our strips, and we hope that you could send some in, or maybe point us in the right direction if you want any interpretations, or if you think one of them might feature correctly on our show. Thank you very much, Queen. I'll be right back there to have our final conversations here for Breakfast Extra.